Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel and to this video. Today we will be painting quite simple windmill, and I did make my sketch earlier, trace it onto a watercolor paper. So if you want, there is a link down in the description box for the sketch. You can go ahead and download it for yourself, trace it and join in this painting. As I said, it will be quite simple. First, I am mixing up some paints, and I'm mixing in some blue and brown to get this slightly grayish color, but with a blue pigment in it. And I will be painting the sky, but before that, I will pre-wet the entire paper, except the part where the windmill is. That part I will leave dry for now because I do not want to bleed into it. I will be painting it in a different color, so this time not pre-wetting the entire paper, but part around the windmill where the sky is and also where the ground is. So with the same brush I was using for pre-wetting the paper, but you can use any brush you have. You can use a round brush here also, but I do find it flat brush to be maybe a little bit more easier to get cloudy-like shapes. And I've added a couple of lines with that. You can see right now it looks quite dark, almost black, but it really is not. It does have that somewhat bluish color in it. Now I've added a little bit more of the blue, picked up a little bit more of the blue and added that mix that I did before. And now adding a little bit more of the clouds to my sky in the upper part and also in the background just behind the windmill. And behind the windmill and on the lower part, I do want those clouds to be a little bit more closer to each other. And on top, I'm painting them a little bit further away. On the lower part, I'm adding a couple of vertical lines to mimic some grasses and the ground. And for that, I'm using green and this light brown color and doing just a very, very light background. Later on, I will be adding more layers to that. Then afterwards, sprinkling some pink color and also yellow color for the flowers. I left it to dry completely, and when it was completely dry, I moved on to painting my windmill. And for that, I used the same color I used for the sky, this somewhat a grayish, almost black color, but with that blue hue in it. And I am painting the left side lighter and the right side darker because I wanted to make it look as though left side is in a light and right side is in the shadow. And also for that reason I'm adding a little bit of the yellow on that left side just to make it look as though it is reflecting a little bit of light, sun. And I did not paint the windmill all the way down to the bottom of my painting, but I've painted it just to the part where I painted grasses because I do want it to make it look that it's behind the grasses. And later on, if I would paint it right now, later on it would be quite hard to cover it with a green color to make it look as though there are grasses in front of it, and it just wouldn't look nice. For the top of my windmill, I've painted in a brown color, and also this time left side lighter, right side a little bit darker. Added a little bit more of that darker pigment on the right side to make it look as though it is a little bit more distinction between that light and dark side. Also for the balcony or stairs, I've added same brown color as I did for the top, and I did want to make a little bit more distinction between the top and the lower part of the windmill because I was painting the top while the lower part was still wet. And I did want to do that because I did want the paint to bleed from the top to the lower part to make it look as though that part is a little bit out and casting a shadow on the lower part of the windmill. And also I blocked in a couple of windows, 2 windows, and just did a couple of lines on the top of my windmill for now, just to make a hint of some shadows from the rotor of the windmill, and also added a little bit more of the paint to the lower part, new layer, same colors as before, using some green and also some brown to paint in the grasses. On top, I've added again splatters with pink and also splatters in yellow color. And afterwards, I'm just gonna leave that part to dry completely. While that is drying, I will be painting the rotor, and for that, using the same darker color, this grayish dark color, to paint in the parts of the rotor, the blade. And as you can see, I'm just gonna paint those 4 rotors or 4 turbines. I'm not really sure how that is called. That dark color, painting some lines. And for that, I find that flat brush is awesome brush to paint it with, and I'm just going from upper to the lower part, turning my paper around, making it easier for myself to paint that, and also adding a little bit more of the shadows from the upper part to the lower part of the windmill and in that balcony on the right side. By now the paint is almost dry in the lower part, so I'm just adding a little bit more grasses, and this time they look more focused because the paper is not wet anymore, so it is not bleeding all over the place, but those grasses are now visible. I've added a couple of lines also in white gouache, and then some splatters in white gouache, again splatters in pink and splatters in yellow, just to make them a little bit more visible and just to lighten a little bit that lower part. Now I'm just painting those windows that I blocked in a little bit earlier, again using the same dark color as I did before, painting the left side of the window darker and the right side lighter, because that is how the shadows are gonna be. You know, the windows are a little bit inside, so it is opposite from the windmill itself, which is on left side lighter, on right side darker. The windows are gonna be opposite. And now with this ink pen, you can definitely use here watercolors and your maybe round brush with a pointy tip, or flat brush to paint in those lines, but it was easier for me to use an ink pen, so I decided to use that to paint in those details on my rotor. And now a couple of last finishing touches, a little bit more splatters in pink, a little bit more splatters in yellow, and also I will add a little bit more of the splatters in white gouache. And also I will add just a hint of shadows on my windmill from the rotor. So I'm not painting a perfect shadows, every single detail on that shadow, but just topping it with the tip of my brush, same darker color to paint in those shadows. As you can see, just making a notion that there are some shadows, and that is basically it. And with that, I'll be finishing off this painting and of course this video. Thank you guys a lot for watching, for all your support. I really do appreciate that a lot. If you do like this video, please hit the like button, share it, comment. It would help me a lot to grow my channel. And if you haven't still, well, please do subscribe to my channel. There are many videos, tutorials on watercolors. I'm sure you will find something interesting to you, and maybe consider even joining my channel. You will find real-time tutorials for my members, so maybe if you do like real-time tutorials, you might find also something for yourself. Again guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!